Hello friends, thank you for completing VBAs and macros course from EduCBA. This was a beginner's module and I am sure this has introduced you to the foundation stones of VBAs and macros. It was neatly structured into primarily 6 to 7 modules which are listed here. We started off with an introduction to VBA. This did nothing but to explain you how VBA is useful and essentially all the possibilities under the roof using VBAs. Here we also came to a conclusion that for VBAs and macros we may not require coding language altogether, knowledge of coding language. This is a very hard or difficult statement or assumption to make, but you can actually make Excel work for you, and that's what we learned, how VBAs and macros can actually do that. So with that assumption, we started by making our first macro, and it was nothing but with a single click it should copy and paste a certain text into the worksheet, and that's what introduced us to how macros are recorded and how we can go ahead and look at or modify the, let's say, code behind it. So we just looked at how we can go about modifying the code, so logically connecting and modifying the code. Number 3, we looked at the VBA environment. So VBA environment is a place where you actually can write coding, and it has various structures. So there was a project explorer where we learned how projects are kind of defined. Then we learned about properties and how we can go about modifying properties as such. And in addition to that, let's say if you want to kind of debug, or let's say if there are errors in your code, then how you can go about kind of checking the code. So we learned about watch, immediate, and different tools and techniques to run and break the code. So we learned a lot here with respect to the VBA environment. Now, equipped with this knowledge of my first macro and VBA environment, we went ahead and made another macro which was just filtering the data as per our requirements and kind of exporting that data into a different sheet. So this was slightly a bit advanced macro as compared to the first one which we developed, but here we learned quite many things as to how to sort, how to link it to different sheets, and kind of modify the code in a superior way. So this is what we learned in data filters. Charting using VBAs actually helped us in terms of understanding how we can create charts and graphs using VBAs. So just with a single click, if I want to make a graph, it is kind of possible. And lastly, we learned with some introduction to user form. So what is a user form? And here we looked at user forms were divided into various types. The one which we learned here in this context was a text box user form. I guess this is what we had learned in our VBAs and macros course, the basic one. And I hope you had enjoyed this, and we look forward to having you for our advanced VBAs and macros course. Thank you so much.